Have you ever had that strange feeling that you're being watched? Well, today, we're going on an investigation together. We're on the hunt for a suspect that's small, completely silent, and can follow you absolutely everywhere you go without ever being seen. We are talking about your car's silent passenger, a hidden GPS tracker.
And let's be really clear about what's at stake here. This isn't just some minor breach of privacy. As this quote nails perfectly, when you realize you're being tracked, it's way more than that. It's a major security threat. It means someone, somewhere, wants to know exactly where you are and where you're headed, and that's a seriously chilling thought.
So the big question is, what do you do about it? How do you fight back? How do you unmask this silent passenger and get your peace of mind back? Well, you're in the right place. That's exactly what we're here to do. We are going to give you the investigator's playbook.
Look, any good investigation starts with knowing your enemy. Before you can even think about finding a tracker, you've got to know how it thinks, right? How it works, and what its weaknesses are. And for our purposes, there are really two main types of tracking devices we're going to be looking for.
Okay, so let's break this down. On one side, you've got your active trackers. Think of these as the chatty ones. They're constantly using GPS and cell networks to broadcast your location in real time. And because they're always sending out a signal, you can actually sniff them out with electronic sweepers that are looking for those radio frequencies. But then you've got the other kind, passive trackers. These guys are the silent spies. They just log all your location data onto a little internal memory stick. They don't transmit a thing. And that right there makes them totally invisible to electronic scanners. The only way you're going to find one of these is with a good old-fashioned physical search.
All right, now that we know who our targets are, it's time to actually sweep the scene. This is the hands-on part of our little investigation where we're going to conduct a really methodical search of the vehicle. Let's get right into it.
To find a tracker, you have to think like the person who hid it. I mean, they're juggling three big things. First, that little device needs some kind of line of sight to the sky to pick up a GPS signal, even if it's just through plastic or glass. Second, it's got to be hidden well enough that you don't just stumble upon it. And third, and this is a big one, it has to be somewhere they could get to pretty quickly to either plant it or, grab it later. These three things pretty much dictate all the most likely hiding spots.
So the vast majority of these devices are placed on the outside of the car. And why is that? Well, because the person planting it probably didn't have your keys, right? They needed a quick hit location. So start with the undercarriage. The metal frame is just a perfect spot for a little magnetic box. You're going to want a flashlight and maybe one of those mirrors on a stick to check the whole perimeter. Next, get in there and check inside the wheel wells. Those plastic liners create a perfect little pocket for tucking a device away. And finally, feel around inside the front and rear bumpers. They're mostly hollow with tons of nooks and crannies to hide a tracker.
Okay, let's move inside the car. This is what we call the deep plant, for a situation where somebody might have had access to your keys, even for just a few minutes. First place to look, the OBD-II port. It's usually under the dashboard on the driver's side. It gives constant power, which makes it a dream spot for those plug-and-play trackers. If you see something plugged in there that you don't recognize, that's a huge red flag. Also, you need to really check under the seats. And I don't mean just a quick peek. I mean feel around in the springs, along the metal tracks. And finally, the dashboard and glove box area. This is where a more professionally installed hardwired device might be hiding. And honestly, those can be a lot tougher to spot without a professional's help.
A physical search is absolutely essential, but a really great detective knows that evidence isn't always something you can hold in your hand. Sometimes you have to listen for clues, and pay attention to behaviors that just feel off.
And this really shows you what to look out for. For instance, are you all of a sudden getting weird static or buzzing on your car radio? That could be an active tracker transmitting data right nearby. Or how about this? Your car battery, which was totally fine last week, is suddenly dead every morning? Yeah, a hardwired tracker could be the culprit draining it. And maybe the most important one of all is what I call the coincidence factor. If someone just seems to know your schedule a little too well, or they just happen to show up where you are, you gotta trust your gut. That intuition you have, it's a powerful investigative tool. Don't ignore it.
Okay, this is it. This is the climax of the investigation. You've done the sweep, you've followed the clues, and you found something. This is a critical moment, and what you do in the next few minutes is incredibly important, both for your safety and for any legal action you might take.
All right, let's walk through this protocol very carefully. Step 1, document everything. And I mean without touching it, take clear photos of the device and exactly where you found it. This is your evidence. Step 2, do not remove it right away. I know the temptation is to rip it out, but the second that device stops moving or transmitting, the person who planted it will get an alert. You want to be the one in control of when that happens. Step 3. Contact law enforcement. Unauthorized tracking is a very serious crime in most places, and they need to be involved to handle this the right way. And finally, Step 4. Let the pros handle it. They can preserve the device for evidence, maybe pull fingerprints, and possibly trace its origin.
When it all comes down to it, this whole investigation boils down to one simple idea. Knowledge is your best defense. The point of all this wasn't to make you paranoid, it was to make you prepared. By understanding the tech, by thinking through the hiding spots, and by knowing exactly what to do if you find something, you change the game. You stop being a potential target, and you become an informed, empowered advocate for your own privacy and your own security.
So, there you have it. We've laid out the entire case file for you, from the tools of the trade to the protocol for handling the evidence. The only question left is for you. Now that you have the investigator's playbook, how will you use it to reclaim your peace of mind?